Sup? It's your boy. Let him know Zoe. Back with another video. Listen, y'all. Today, what I want to talk about is American identity. Now, this topic has been on my mind for quite some time because as an American, I have noticed something very funny about many of my fellow countrymen. It is a very common occurrence in the USA where two people will be having a conversation and it's a possibility that the topic will come up, and usually the way we word it here is we'll ask somebody, "What are you?" Now, when an American asks somebody, "What are you?" that number one, I just want to say like that question in itself just sounds incredibly rude. But I can look past that because I know what it means. When an American asks you, "What are you?" what they're basically asking is, what am I seeing when I look at you? What is your ancestry? Where do your ancestors come from? Why do you look the way you do? And so when an American asks that question, and typically it's between two Americans. So when one American asks another American that question, typically the American who answers will say something along the lines of, okay, look, all right. So let's say, for example, I'm asking a white American person, "What are you?" Chances are they'll probably say something like, "Oh, I'm a little bit. I got some German in me. I got some English. I got some French. I'm a little bit of Italian, and yeah." And then it's like, wait, like, what do you mean? Like, you say like you're all these things, but like, you were born in the USA. You were raised in the USA. You live in the USA. You practice American culture on a daily basis, yet you're telling me all these other different countries. So I'm like, it's just so funny the way it works here, because like sometimes personally to me it feels like Americans, like US citizens, even the ones who are deeply steeped in American culture, are unconscious of it, because it's just like I just said, you'll ask somebody, "What are you?" and then they'll start listing off a whole bunch of foreign countries, and I'm like, bro, like, but like that's not exactly what I meant. But in a way, I guess that is what I meant, because since we're all here, well, since all of us Americans are here in the USA, and this is a hyper diverse society, we tend to play up our similarities more than our differences, because that is obviously the core of any strong nation. You have to build a foundation on what all the citizens have in common, not what makes all of us different from each other. So what makes an American? An American, in the most liberal sense, is a legal citizen of the United States of America. But American identity goes so much deeper than that. American identity is a matter of the culture that you practice on a daily basis. It is a matter of where you live. Typically, Americans are going to live in the USA, obviously. But I mean, it's definitely been a growing movement of expatriates, which are Americans who decide to leave the United States and permanently settle in some other country. So when that happens, like that's when, like, it's like Americans don't actually realize their Americanness until they leave America and actually come in direct contact with somebody who is not American. Then it's like, whoa, like, why aren't you speaking English? Like, why don't you sound like me? Why don't you look like me? It's because they're not American, because you left America and you made a conscious decision to interact with people from a foreign culture. So sometimes I just find it a little bit funny how Americans can seem a bit ignorant about themselves. And honestly, I find it like strange. It's like, how can you be so unaware of the country that you live in, the culture that you practice, and like the influence that we have on such a global scale? It's like, how can you not know? Like we literally live in it. But honestly, I guess when you look at it that way, it kind of makes sense because I heard a very wise quote actually just last night when I was watching a show. I'm an anime fan, and I was watching a show called Space Dandy, right? And there is this one character. I'm not going to say much because maybe if you guys like the show, you can check it out. But one of the characters in the show said that when something becomes a state of being, you don't notice it so much then. And that just really it threw me for a loop because I was like, wow, like maybe that's why it seems like so many Americans are unconscious of their own Americanness because it's just standard. It's like you don't realize that it's distinct or unique because as a US citizen, as an American, you practice the culture and so does everybody else. So when we're all tuned into what makes us similar, of course, we're not really going to realize exactly what makes us different. But yeah, the United States of America is a hyper diverse society. You could literally find people from all walks of life here. You could find an American who has ancestors from literally anywhere in the world. Like it's crazy. So, what exactly makes American culture? From my perspective, American culture is a lot of things. First and foremost, I have to say that American culture, in my opinion, is what I like to call, well, not just what I like to call it, but what it really, I believe it is American culture is a smorgasbord. What is a smorgasbord? A smorgasbord is kind of like a buffet. It has a whole lot of different unique aspects to it that may have come from like all different sources and whatever. And so in the case of American culture, it is a composite culture because American culture is originally based on British culture. And sometimes I hear I find it funny when sometimes I hear Americans say that American culture is basically diet British culture because there's no doubt that there are similarities between the culture that is practiced in the USA and the culture that is practiced in the UK, primarily England. So, what language am I speaking right now? English. Why am I speaking English? Because the United States of America evolved from British colonies. And so, of course, when that's the case, even after the USA made a conscious decision to distinguish itself from the UK and secede and become its own nation, we made a point to go in our own direction culturally. But obviously, everything that the culture has developed from with regard to Britain is still kind of going to be there. Like, we're speaking English. My accent is different. Obviously, I don't sound British because I'm not British. But obviously, I could have a conversation with a British person because even though we don't sound exactly the same, the bottom line is we're both speaking English. So, yeah. Another aspect of American culture that I want to get into is the fashion. So, typically what you'll see people wearing if you walk anywhere in America, well, I mean, honestly, it does depend on the region of the USA that you live in. But typically, what you'll see the average American wearing is jeans, sneakers, like skinny jeans, ripped skinny jeans, hoodies, t-shirts. I don't know if you would consider glasses a cultural thing. No, but just forget I said that. not about the glasses, but yeah, jeans, sneakers, t-shirts. for American girls, I noticed that American girls love to wear leggings. And another thing that they like to do is they love to wear like those oversized hoodies, like in like the super baggy shit. Like they'll be wearing some tight little leggings and like a crew neck shirt or a pullover hoodie that's like 3 sizes too big for her, and they just love to do that. It's the funniest thing to me. Another fashion icon of the United States, like something that you're typically gonna find Americans wearing, is Uggs. I'm not sure if I correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe that the UGG brand, the UGG clothing brand, originates in the USA. So it's very common to see American girls wearing Uggs. Like either it'll be the boots, like the boots that go like halfway up your calf with no laces. I remember a few years ago when basically like UGG sneakers came out. They're like ankle length shoes. They actually had laces in them. And I actually got a couple pairs myself because them motherfuckers is comfortable as hell. They're so fluffy inside and all soft and everything. And so, oh, and also another thing I just remembered that was like going crazy just a few years ago. It seemed like you could not go anywhere without seeing American guys, younger American guys, wearing joggers. Oh my God, yo. A few years ago, joggers were joggers were everywhere. You could not go one day outside of your house without seeing some dude wearing joggers, especially those khaki joggers, like the tan pants. It's like that was going crazy for a long time. And so yeah, American culture is very expansive. Another thing I want to get into is brands. Brands are a very big deal in American culture. So let's see. One very prominent brand of American culture, I might even say the trademark brand of American culture, is Apple. I'm recording this video right now on an iPhone 15 Pro Max. Where did that product come from? That product came from the American mega corporation known as Apple. Apple has had an enormous impact, not only all throughout the USA, but all throughout the entire world. You probably can't go to any developed country in the world without seeing an iPhone. And where do iPhones originate from? The United States of America. So American culture is extremely, extremely influential. You know, it's one of our greatest exports. We have so many different types of things that like the world just kind of like follows us as we do. Our music is super unique. There are many genres of music that originated here in the United States of America. Let's see, we have rock and roll, we have hip hop, we have R&B, which stands for rhythm and blues, excuse me. We have country music, and I'm sure that, I mean, I'm not exactly sure, but I feel like maybe other countries do have some kind of variation of country music, but you can't say that American country music is not distinct, because it definitely is. Like, American country music has a very distinct sound, and like me personally as an American, I know country music when I hear it. We also have this genre of music. It's called bluegrass. It's similar to country music. I'm not like, personally, I'm from New York, so I I'm personally not much of a fan of country music, but you know, I'm American, so I'll know it if I hear it. So yeah, and then another aspect of American culture is your family. So when it comes to being American, one thing that cannot be overlooked is how long has your family, or at the very least, how long has your lineage been living in the United States of America? America began with British colonization, right? So the original, what you could say the original population of America is Englishmen. So that's why the English culture is so prominent in the United States of America, because that was basically the original culture of America. American culture, you could say, is an offshoot of British culture. Or as I prefer to say, since I'm American, I think it's more funny to say it this way, American culture can be considered diet British culture. And I personally find that very funny. But yeah, typically people who stand firm in American identity, that's typically because their family has been in the United States for a very, very long time, many generations. In the case of white Americans, particularly, many of them have been here since the very beginning, since the inception of the USA, even before that, obviously, since, America was still just a handful of British colonies. Obviously, it's going to be the British culture, the English culture. Many white Americans are highly likely to claim Irish heritage, English heritage, to a lesser extent, Welsh. I believe Americans who have Welsh ancestry are typically going to be concentrated in the region of the USA known as New England, which is basically the northeastern USA, the original area where the colonists landed when they first got here. In my case, you may be wondering, okay, you're talking about all this American stuff, but like, what are you? And okay, I am American. And I say that because my family has been here for a very, 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 very long time. Literally, you could say that. Okay, look. All right. So I'll get a little more specific. So you're looking at me and you're probably wondering. You might be wondering, what are you? So another part of that, like if I'm gonna get into that, I guess another part of American culture that I have to mention is race, right? So in the USA, we have this aspect of our culture known as race. Race is primarily based on the way that somebody looks, like what color is your skin complexion, what color are your eyes, like the size of your lips, the shape of your nose, the texture and the color of your hair. Like, America is super duper diverse, both with respect to culture and with respect to ancestry. So personally, I identify specifically with the sense to ethnicity. I guess you would say, like, to take it to a more specific level than just American, I guess you could say I'm Black. And personally, like, I'm extremely proud to be part of the group who is called Black Americans. But personally, I just think it's kind of cringe to refer to a human being as a mere color. I think that's kind of stupid. But honestly, I understand why we do it. We do it because America is so diverse. No, like, okay, I was gonna say no two Americans look the same, but that's wrong. What I meant to say was all Americans don't look the same. And that's because the ancestry of the average American is extremely diverse. Americans may have European ancestry. Americans may have African ancestry. Americans may have ancestry from the indigenous people of North America. Americans may have ancestry from East Asia. If your family immigrated from like China or Japan or the Philippines or North Korea or South Korea. Americans may have South Asian ancestry if your family immigrated to America from India or Pakistan or Tibet or Nepal, whatever. Like literally, the options are endless because people come to America from all over the world. So like, there's literally no end to the possible ancestry that an American could have. So, in a sense, you could say that American culture is almost like the world's culture because you would be hard pressed to come to the United States and not find any particular ethnicity of people. Like, another prominent group that I actually forgot to mention when I was talking about the races and the ethnicities and everything, a very prominent ethnic group in the USA is Latinos. And Latinos just unto themselves, like not even counting like US citizens who are not Latino, I'm talking specifically about Latino Americans now. Anybody in the United States who claims heritage from anywhere in Latin America. So I'm talking about primarily the Hispanic countries, you know, like Mexico, Dominican Republic, Cuba, Bolivia, El Salvador, Panama. It's so many countries that are south of the United States in Latin America, and that culture, that broad culture, is so diverse. And then honorable mention for the Latinos. I don't know if Hispanics actually claim Brazilians, because I know that Brazilians are not Hispanic, because Brazilians, even though they typically are considered Latino, what distinguishes Brazilians from the vast majority of other Latinos is that Brazilians speak Portuguese and the vast majority of Latino Americans speak Spanish in addition to English. So that's one thing that I find very interesting about Latinos in general. They're super duper diverse. So with respect to Latinos in America, Latino Americans, I guess I'll say, if I want to do the catch-all term to include all of you guys, Latino Americans are super duper diverse, not only with respect to culture, but with respect to race as well. Latino Americans may be, actually first I'll focus on Latino Americans. Latino Americans may be of any race. Latino Americans are probably the single most racially diverse subgroup of Americans, right? Because it's very, like, Latin America has a long history of miscegenation, and that is basically race mixing. So like in America, and in addition, all throughout Latin America, you'll find people who are white, black, Indigenous American, East Asian, South Asian, Hawaiian, Samoan, and literally any mix of race that you could think of. Like literally, when it comes to mixed race Americans, the possibilities are literally endless. Like literally, you could find an American, a mixed race American with ancestry literally, if a mixed race American were to take a DNA test and then they were to look at the results, literally like the entire fucking planet would probably light up, because mixed race Americans have extremely diverse ancestry. I think one of the most common, like one of the original factors of mixed race Americans is that they'll be mixed with European and African. And why is that? That is because in the early days of the United States of America, long before it was the global imperial superpower that it is known as today, there was a whole lot of things going on behind the scenes that I'm not going to get into because despite the darkness that is in America, I do love this country. So I want to keep it positive in this video. Maybe we can get into the nitty gritty in a later video. I'll definitely do that. But I want to keep it light right now. There was a lot of mixing in the early United States between Europeans, Africans, and the indigenous people who were already here. So because of that, it is incredibly common today to find Americans who have both European and African ancestry, or Americans who might have both European and indigenous American ancestry. And that is just another layer of the American society that just makes us so like diverse and culturally rich in just so many different ways. So I really am proud to be American. I feel so happy to call such a powerful, influential empire my home. And as a Black American, I have a very strong connection with this country, a very deep connection with this country. So honestly, I don't claim any other country as my home except the United States of America. I am American. Honorable mention, not only do I love my country, but I love my family as well. And half of my family, particularly my mother's side, is of Haitian descent. And I am very proud of my Haitian heritage as well, because Haiti was a country that was originally a colony of France. And so when Haiti fought for their independence against France and they won their independence in 1804, that is something that I am very proud to claim as well, because as an American, I know that like sometimes we can seem or say things that are a bit hypocritical, but as an American, I really do stand for liberty and justice for all. And so that's part of the reason why I'm so proud also, not only of my Americanness, but also of my partial Haitian heritage, because Haitians fought for their independence and won, just like Americans did. And that's why I'm so proud to claim both, because literally, I was born a freedom fighter. Like, I feel so happy to say that. It feels so amazing to say that. So like, if I'm gonna wrap this up with a neat little bow, American culture is super duper diverse. Like there's literally like no race of people that you won't find in the USA, because this nation, this country, this empire is super duper diverse. And that is one of the most beautiful things about America. And again, I want to reiterate that American culture is a smorgasbord. It's super duper diverse. I feel like one thing I forgot to mention that I want to get into about American culture is the food. Fast food. That's not really a good thing, but that's definitely a staple of American culture. You think of American culture, one of the first things that comes to mind, at least for me, fast food chains. McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, Chick-fil-A. That's probably been the one that's been popping off the most lately. Chick-fil-A is going crazy right now. I love me some Chick-fil-A. They got some banging waffle fries. You got to try them motherfuckers. But yo, fast food is a staple of American culture, because I think that's because we live in a rather fast-paced society. America is a very fast-paced society. It's a very go, 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 go. Like, we got to do this, got to do that, go there, go that. We got to accomplish this, got to get that done, do this, that. You know, like, America is a very, like, on the go type of society. Americans live a very fast life. And that also depends on where in America you're from. But I can definitely attest to that because me personally, like I said, I'm from New York. So up here, we do things very, very quickly. Americans, especially New Yorkers, are very impatient. And I am one of those people. I am not patient. Man, sometimes I just get so angry when people do things slowly. But listen, American culture, super duper diverse, super duper accepting, and super duper influential. So, what makes an American? An American is somebody who was born in the USA, raised in the USA, practices American culture on a daily basis, and last but not least, they are proud to be American. It's your boy. Let him know Zoe. Like, comment, subscribe, share. I'm out.